Hey everybody, this is the She's the Owner podcast. I'm your host, Karen McCarran, and I am recording this podcast from my car. Actually, not even my car, my ex-husband's car, because my car is still in the shop, and I'm in Hamilton right now with my dog, Scott, who you've all seen on several episodes and videos that I've done. Scott's getting his balls chopped off today. Oh, it's so upsetting for him and for me. But so I'm in Hamilton, and it's quite hilarious because since I'm unvaccinated, I can't go into a restaurant to work. So I'm working from the car. And I thought, why not do a podcast? This will be fun. So here I am. I'm just gonna try to fix the computer so I don't have to hold it the whole time. So because I am recording this in my Zoom account. So today's episode is about what are you focusing on? And I think that's a really incredibly important thing that we don't, maybe we don't talk about it enough as business owners or as, women or whatever, but I really want to kind of, this can be a quick one. It's just a bite-sized nugget, but I really want to get you thinking about what are you actually focusing on in life, in your day, in your business, in your relationship? Like, where do you spend the most time thinking about, um, like where are you focused on what it is that's happening in your life? I'm just going to pause this for 1 second. So this going to be a funny angle if you're watching it. And don't mind like mess in the car because I'll be honest, I'm not messy like my ex, even though I love him for letting me use his car today. Anyway, so when you think about where are you focused on, what are you like, are you thinking about all the shit that's going wrong? Are you thinking about all the shit that could, all the potential bad stuff that's going to happen? Like, where do you spend the most time thinking about when it comes to any of the things, right? So, and I always say this to my children, like, what's available, and Tony says this, right? Like, what's available to get upset about, or sorry, fuck, hello, woman, get your shit together. What is wrong is always available, and so is what is right. So whose choice is it? What you're focusing on? Mine? For you? No, it's your choice, right? Like, you decide what you're focusing on. And I'm not, like I've done episodes on your emotional home, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we all have those moments where it's like, okay, I'm gonna feel shitty. Like my daughter Sydney, she's moving back she's going back to Edmonton. She's been with me for 2 months. And am I sad? Look at this. If you're watching this, I've shit all over my Lululemon sweat. I don't know what's going on. It was early when I left the house this morning. But so she's going back to Edmonton. And I could choose to feel, and I am, don't get me wrong, I'm very sad. Sydney and I have had a very interesting last 10 years together. She and I have had some very volatile feelings around our relationship over time. And she's done an incredible amount of healing. I've done a bunch of healing. And so our relationship has really changed over the last year for sure. And so this time her leaving is really sad. Usually when she comes to visit, which isn't often because we fought all the time, I wasn't as sad. I was like, holy frick, it's time to go. Now, because we get along so well and because we've done so much healing around all of it, it's difficult. This time is really hard for me. I'm really sad. And thank God I have this thing with Scott to distract me. But when I get home and I'm by myself today, I will feel sad because the other thing is, I'm going, if you've listened or you've paid attention to anything around me, I'm going through a divorce right now. And so Sydney's been a really wonderful distraction. Her and I have hung out, we've laughed, she makes jokes about I cry all the time, which I cry all the time anyway. But she's been a really huge help in the last 2 months, just sort of letting me get into my feels about my divorce. And so now she's not going to be there to distract me. So there's going to be another layer of healing that needs to happen while I'm on my own. But I can choose to focus on how sad I feel that she's going back to Edmonton. I can choose to feel all these things. And I'm not negating the fact that you need to feel, you do need to feel the feelings. You can't skip over divorces. You can't skip over shitty things in your business. You can't skip over that kind of stuff. It really is important that you feel it, you process it, but then you move on from it. And I don't think there's any hard and fast rule on time. It's just like, I feel like, if you're connected to your heart and you're in your feminine, when the moment is to like, okay, it's time to move on from this. I don't need to sit and wallow in it anymore. It's different for everybody. And there's a moment where you just kind of make the decision, okay, am I feeling like it's done? This is if you're actively doing the work on it, right? I'm not talking about just sitting here and 2 years has gone by. It doesn't take 2 years to get over things. If you're going to get over something, you have the choice of when that's going to happen, because nothing magically externally happens when you get over something. It's internal. It's you deciding, I'm done feeling like this about this. So for me, I'm close to wrapping it up, feeling about my marriage and the end of my marriage. I'm close to really healing from it and feeling like, okay, we're good. There's no more that needs to be kind of figured out. But I still choose to focus on the good in the thing that's happening. I'm still choosing to focus on, my business, right? Like, She's the Owner was for a solid, probably, let's call it a year and a half. And then I've recently changed the brand in January to the Love Soldiers brand. I could choose to focus on, well, why isn't it picking up as quickly as I wanted it to? Or why isn't it this? Or why isn't it that? I could focus on the negative parts of that. Why am I not making, 50 grand a month yet? Why am I not all that, right? We could all sit in that. But what the fuck is the point of that? Like, what's the point of doing that? There is no point in doing that. Because if you sit in that and you're focusing on the negative, what happens? You get to a point where you're actually not even doing the shit that you need to do to move the needle. So it's like, okay, if you're sitting and wallowing or sitting and focusing on what isn't working for your business, the only thing that happens when you do that is nothing happens. You just sit there and you're focused on feeling like shit. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, what can I do instead? So for me, if I'm feeling a way about something that's less than positive and I'm feeling negative about it, my go-to is always action. Take some type of action, right? So maybe that's recording a podcast. Maybe that is finishing your website. Maybe that is looking for clients to reach out to or potential clients to reach out to. Like, sales doesn't happen on its own, ladies. Like, I don't know who gave us that idea that sales happens on its own. It doesn't. You still have to do things and be active, right? You still have to be proactive in getting sales and shit done. So take some type of action, whatever it needs to be, take that action. Focus on what's working. Don't focus on what isn't working. Focus on what is working. How can I amplify what is working, right? If you're in your relationship, start focusing on what's working there. Don't just sit there and think, oh my God, this sucks. He's shitty. I'm shitty. Our relationship's blah, blah, blah. Focus, pick one thing that's good about the relationship. Focus there. Sit there and think, okay, so if the sex is really good, cool. How can I make that happen more? Maybe that's your gateway drug for you guys to start working on other parts of the relationship. Maybe that level of intimacy, maybe the sex, like a lot of times sex is so heated and really delicious. But like the rest of the relationship kind of sucks ass. Okay, well, like sit down with your partner and say, listen, our sex is really good. Why is it really good? Well, because we're connected. Okay. Sometimes it's because you don't have the fucking opportunity to chirp at each other when you're in bed. When you're having sex and you can't fucking natter and you can't complain about he didn't do the dishes and she's not listening to me and and you're just having sex. Okay, well, what's the clue there? Well, when we're having sex, why is it so good? Why are we getting along? Because we're not talking, we're not bitching at each other. Okay, well, let's explore that. Maybe when we're not having sex, do we need to complain about each other this often? Do we need to be looking at expectations versus appreciation? Like, there's no real mystery in why things aren't working. You need guides. And I'm hopefully one of your guides, but like, it's not complicated. We make it so insanely complicated. It's crazy. Right? So uncomplicated. Think about, where are you focusing? Where are you focusing? So when you get to the juicy bits and you start to think, okay, Where am I focusing? Just start making an opposite list. I love doing that where it's like, okay, so if I'm focusing on how shitty he is, what can I focus on that's opposite? If I'm focusing on what's shitty about my business, what can I look at now that's the opposite and make that list and just start going down that list and think, okay, cool. So maybe I can focus on what's working. What is working? My social media. Perfect. Okay. Let's look at my social media. Why is my social media so strong? Okay, well, maybe it's because you do your lives. Maybe it's because you're building content. Maybe it's because you know you're over delivering. Every piece of content that you create is an over delivering of. Maybe, whatever the thing is. And then you look at that and you go, okay, well, how can that apply to my sales? How can that apply to my, delivering? Like maybe your delivery's shitty. Maybe you're making all these really wonderful claims in your sales process, but the delivery is weak. Okay, well, how can I focus my energy on delivering over, the same way that I do when I sell? So that's it. Focus where your focus goes, energy flows, right? We have all heard that statement 1,000 times. Where your focus goes, energy, where you focus your energy is where it goes. That's it. Maybe we'll edit that piece out. Who knows? It's early and I'm thinking about my dog. I'm focused on my dog and getting his balls chopped off. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope this was a fun episode for you. If you need anything, always reach out. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.